This is Margaret in Windsor, and I just finished this tape. It's got my coffee cup on it, so maybe, and this is the 15th of April 2014. I'll get it together here in a minute. If you knew what was being done to you, and me trying to laugh it off instead of screaming here. That's what I wanted to finish. I'm Margaret Ann Windsor, and I was kidnapped from Buckingham Palace in 41, brought to the United States, Moulton, Alabama, about 40 miles from Huntsville, and that is significant. That's when the space industry, NASA, started in 50, well, it was going strong in about 53 on. And by the way, that's when MK Ultra was brought before Congress because of mind control and what they were doing with mental illness, the tortures. And I've written about mind control, and I got a letter from the FBI, and, well, it's on my father's birthday, King Edward VIII, my father, that they took down illegally. He never married Wallace Simpson. He was married to Claudia O'Keeffe, an American. The New World Order took him down, and my Uncle George helped. Joe Kennedy was ambassador. That's JFK's father. They flew in and out, the sons did, and they even went before the House of Commons. And here I am. They've slaughtered me, brought me over here, and tortured me every day of my life. Now then, I wanted to tell you how. The last years, I'm not going back to tell about what happened in 1962 and then when Kennedy was shot. Why do you think they covered up the Warren Commission? Because it would have led back to my kidnapping. And the rest of the world might not find it funny that Great Britain's being held captive and hostage just as I am by the United States because they installed their own monarch, George VI, and took down my father, King Edward VIII, all illegal. 99-year seal put on it, which covered my birth. And my Uncle George signed treaties that allowed the United States military bases all over everything British. There's even an Area 51 in Australia. And here you've got William and Kate flaunting my money. They're using my money. And they're all looking like the sweetest things and all this finery. And they're down there with the Union Jack flag, pretending they're the good guys when they've given it all away and they're illegal. And there's even an Area 51 in Australia. The United States claimed they didn't have one until it was finally, they couldn't hide it. They've not only got an Area 51 down there in Australia, they've got things all over the world. I wanted to address Bechtel here because through the years, I have been led into collecting all this, and part of it was where I work, my jobs. But I saw in Googling and looking some things about Australia and what the United States is doing there, that Bechtel, is it Bechtel or, oh, I'm going to have to go back and look again. Bechtel, because I was doing work, some stuff on that. If I'm not mistaken, that's Schultz, and every one of the presidents have been corrupt as heck. I don't know about, well, I'm not going to say anything good about Jimmy Carter. I mean, I thought he was. Bert Lance, I had my book after they put antifreeze in me down in April the 1st of 80. I thought it was because of the book. I had that and some certificates. A little bit of money put there, and it was illegally taken. And Bert Lance, that was Jimmy Carter's, it was in his top staff, White House staff, but I can't, it's so ludicrous. Anyway, I won't tell how they moved it and what they did. Anybody could get into it. A safety deposit box, and they took my book. And everything's been done to me is illegal. I can't get an attorney. My God, you put antifreeze in somebody and the fiasco that happened there. So now then I'll lose people, and they'll say someone who hasn't got background on it will probably put it down. But I'm going to say this. I'm jumping to when I came up here. So I'm leaving out all the torture they've done to me, the illegal things that if it was shown before the world, it wouldn't look at all good for this country. It would show who they really are. They're living good. They're living a lie. They're presenting a false front to the world. Really, they're the devil. They're the devil. They're just hiding the mechanisms used in what they do, and in the end, it's global takeover. You think they're the good guys, and you get to the end, and the New World Order is already in place, and they've used mind control, and that's the ultimate weapon in it. Now then, what they've done to me in part is I have an immune disorder, and it was caused when they kidnapped me. Some things they did to me then. And I react, my immune system attacks itself if I'm around certain chemicals. Normally, I should be able to live anywhere as long as I'm not being force-fed chemicals. And that's what this country has done. I'm a hostage. I couldn't leave this country even if I could get back into my own country, which Elizabeth's not going to let me do. They don't talk about me. If they're ever asked, they hold to the lie that my father married Wallace Simpson, which was a total lie. An imposter married Wallace. So anyway, I couldn't even get back into England if I could leave the United States. So what the United States has done, this agency, has, I was told by Carl Smith when I worked for the DA in Huntsville, Alabama in 80. This is with, my brain had been baked with antifreeze and I should have died. And I'm trying to work for the district attorney, Fred Simpson. And I'm going to forget what I was going to say. Here, I'm going back and forth myself. First time I've done that. Anyway, I'm going to go back to my immune system. It's certainly been compromised, and I should be able to live anywhere. But if it's industrial or some things like Windex and some household cleaners will do it, especially if they've soaked your bedding. And they've done all this to me. And no law enforcement, because not here in this country, helped me. You can't go to them. I went to, and I keep telling this one, the Patels have become quite wealthy here. They didn't start out that way. But out in 95, in November, when I'd managed to get a job doing, remember, I did a book and I worked for doctors and worked for the district attorney. So I had pretty good skills. And now I'm up here in Roanoke since 86, and I couldn't get jobs. I lived on the Appalachian Trail and froze and starved, and nobody would help me. The cops and law enforcement told them not to, and they didn't. And I've named names back in the past and all this, but they've used my illness, allergic to chemicals, to torture me further. So the Patels out there, I rented with the money I'd finally been able to make off of a live-in. I paid it for a month, and a few days after I'd lived in it, and hadn't even used up a week out of the month, the Patels come in going to paint and everything. Well, I told them I'm allergic to it, and they already knew it anyway. It's common knowledge, I was told, around Botetourt and Roanoke County that I'm allergic to chemicals. And they laugh because they don't care. I called the cops to keep them from coming in. The cop said he would arrest me, and he'd put my hands behind me like he was going to arrest me. He said, it's you that's going to have to leave. I said, well, at least make him give me my money back, the rest of my rent back. They wouldn't do it. When he left, the Patel said to me, we're Americans now. We have to do what they tell us to do. Over the years, I've stayed at corporate suites here, which is where I am now, affordable corporate suites. They've done the same thing. They're owned by a Jewish man. They've soaked me, run me. It's killing me. It's killing my lungs, my kidneys, everything. It's unbelievable. It really is. It's a life-threatening thing, and the quality of life that